There are new bombshell claims today from royal insiders who say King Charles's cancer is incurable and he will likely die with the disease.
The United Kingdom stands at a historic crossroads, one marked not by celebration, but by sorrow. King Charles III, whose reign began under the shadow of his mother's legacy, has died unexpectedly. The announcement came swiftly from Windsor, sending shockwaves through the realm and beyond. In a dramatic overnight shift, Prince William and Princess Catherine were crowned, their moment of destiny forged in grief. But as the crown passed hands, what really happened behind palace doors that calls for a swift, overnight crowning? This is a story of loss, legacy, and a monarchy forever changed. The day William stepped into history. A single phone call shattered the calm of Windsor, cloaked in urgency and echoing through dimly lit corridors. That night, the monarchy changed forever. King Charles III, long a symbol of quiet duty and resilience, had passed away. The man who once walked behind Queen Elizabeth in solemn tribute was now gone, and the crown had shifted, silently but powerfully, onto his son's shoulders. Though the news shocked many, the signs had been gently building. Since the announcement of his cancer diagnosis in February 2024, concerns had quietly grown. Yet Charles faced it all with remarkable grace, appearing at engagements with a soft smile, leaning occasionally on William for support, and delivering tender words about unity and continuity in what would become his final public address. To the public, he remained composed. To his family, he was enduring a battle that neither time nor title could shield him from. Within the palace walls, moments became memories. Those closest to him spoke of William's constant presence, offering quiet strength, echoing the unspoken bond they shared. It was never just an obligation. It was love, born from shared history and shaped by looking goodbye. On July 18, 2025, at Balmoral Castle, where his mother had also passed, King Charles died peacefully, surrounded by those who loved him most. Buckingham Palace released a short but poignant message. His Majesty King Charles III passed away peacefully. The nation responded with mourning. Flags fell, tributes poured in. He was more than a monarch. He was a father, a grandfather, a man of depth and quiet strength. Then came the transition, swift, raw, and without grandeur. No elaborate rehearsals, no drawn-out ceremonies. By morning, William and Catherine had arrived at the palace under tight security. Headlines confirmed what whispers already knew. Prince William was now king. There was no time for spectacle, only the weight of duty. And as the nation grieved, one question echoed louder than the rest. Was he truly ready? Ready or not, history had turned its page. But what really triggered such a swift, silent shift in power overnight? Stay glued to your screen to find out, the moment the monarchy changed forever. It wasn't meant to happen so soon, at least not like this. No matter how many quiet whispers or cautious preparations were made behind palace walls, nothing truly prepares a nation or a family for a moment like this. The loss of King Charles sent a ripple through the very heart of the monarchy. Though he had spoken often about succession, about preparing the institution for the future, the call that came that fateful day still felt like a thunderclap. At the serene Anmer Hall estate, where William and Catherine were spending quiet family time with George, Charlotte, and Louis, the news came through. An aide described the mood as instantly shifting from peace to paralysis. William reportedly embraced Catherine tightly, whispering the words every parent dreads to say aloud. "We have to be strong for them now." And just like that, a family's grief became a nation's mourning. Outside royal residences, crowds formed almost instantly, laying flowers and lighting candles as if instinctively drawn to these symbols of memory. It was reminiscent of the outpouring after Queen Elizabeth II's passing in 2022. But this time, it felt more sudden, more fragile. Unlike then, there could be no delay. The throne could not sit empty. The line of succession was crystal clear. William was next. And duty, as always, demanded immediacy. Reports from July 17th hinted at Charles's recent health challenges and the quiet adjustments being made to ceremonial plans. But no one could have predicted that these speculations would turn into headlines so quickly. According to palace insiders, the king had hoped to be remembered for championing climate change awareness and encouraging unity in a changing world. His vision was noble, but unfinished. With the crown now passed to William, supported fiercely by Catherine, the monarchy faces a new dawn shaped by legacy, responsibility, and resilience. But in the silence left behind, one question lingers among the royal whispers and candlelit tributes. Did the king know his final chapter was already being written? But what quiet signs did we all miss before the crown changed hands so suddenly? Stay tuned. This story is just unfolding. The rise of a reluctant king. The day didn't feel historic at first. There were no dramatic fanfares or flashing headlines, just a quiet, somber breeze settling over the nation. But beneath that calm exterior, a monumental shift had occurred. King Charles III, who had once stepped into the role with cautious optimism after Queen Elizabeth's passing in 2022, was no longer with us. The crown had changed heads again, this time with barely a moment's notice. It wasn't just his passing that stunned the public, it was everything it symbolized. Charles had always been more than a figurehead. He was a man of causes. He championed the climate before it became fashionable, pushed for unity among faiths, and often spoke of building a monarchy that reflected the future, not just the past. Yet, beneath his calm exterior, health challenges steadily crept in. What began as a routine procedure for an enlarged prostate evolved into something far more serious. By mid-2025, whispers swirled. Reports from outlets like Market Watch hinted he was pushing through worsening illness just to fulfill his duties. Family insiders, quoted anonymously, noted how he often refused to scale back, convinced the country still needed him. But in private, there were softer moments, walks with William through the Balmoral grounds, conversations about the future of the Commonwealth and the kind of king William should be. He's got a real sense of duty, which helps me, because I've always felt the pull of service, Charles once remarked of his son, words that now echo with haunting clarity. And then, as if history had hurried its pace, the monarchy pivoted overnight. William, who had trained his whole life for this role, suddenly found himself wearing the crown he never rushed toward. The country united in mourning, yes, but also watched with nervous curiosity. Could the new king carry forward his father's vision? And where did that leave Catherine, now queen consort, in this high-stakes chapter? Speculation is swirling. Some say her influence may quietly rival that of any royal before her. Others wonder if Charles's legacy will cast a long, unshakable shadow. One thing is certain: what began as a time of sorrow may now be remembered as the unexpected dawn of a very different reign. Shadows, whispers, and a king's final bow. The silence was almost louder than the news itself. For months, the world had been awash with speculation. Was he truly fading, or merely retreating into the background? Despite official denials and brief reassurances from media outlets like Newsweek and The Guardian, something always felt off. Then came the wave. Not a roar, not a storm, but a slow, heart-sinking confirmation. King Charles III was no longer with us. The king, known as much for his deeply personal causes as for his royal obligations, had long been a symbol of quiet reform. He wasn't the revolutionary type, but his fingerprints were everywhere. Opening the gates of Balmoral to the public? That was him. Turning royal estates into sustainability hubs? Also him. He brought the throne into a conversation with the modern world, even when the world wasn't ready to listen. But the cost? It showed. Reports from People magazine in March 2025 hinted at complications from treatment, subtle, cautious mentions of hospitalization that few took seriously at the time. Now, in hindsight, they were early warnings. Behind palace walls, things had shifted. His last public appearances were painted with hidden glances, quiet tension, and a kind of heaviness that no protocol could mask. Catherine, Princess of Wales, remained the serene constant at his side. Her steady presence during outings like the Chelsea Flower Show became more than ceremonial. It was emotional armor, not just for Charles, but for the institution itself. Camilla, his rock through decades of public scrutiny and personal transformation, stood firmly by him to the end. But with Charles gone, even her unshakable presence couldn't hold back the tide of uncertainty that followed. The official line of succession was never in question, but was the monarchy truly ready for the emotional weight that followed? Prince William didn't get the luxury of transition. One day, he was heir. Next, he was king. No announcement, no pageantry. Just duty, delivered like a sealed letter in the night, as Britain mourned a monarch who tried, sometimes quietly, sometimes clumsily, to merge tradition with progress. A single question emerged, whispered in corridors, cafes, and across social media feeds. Can William rise fast enough to lead a shaken nation? Now all eyes are on the new king, because the crown doesn't wait, and neither does history. But what happens when a prince becomes king overnight, with no warning or fanfare? Could this be the beginning of unending disaster? Stay tuned to find out. The crown changed hands. The clock had barely struck midnight when everything shifted, not just for the royal family, but for the entire world. Behind the towering gates of Windsor and within the ancient walls of Balmoral, a quiet storm was already unfolding. There were no trumpets, no public declarations, just a hush, a flurry of hurried phone calls, and a monarchy silently reshaping itself. Though official coronations take months to arrange, the rules of succession are clear and immediate. The moment King Charles III passed, sources suggest it was late into the evening. Prince William automatically became King William V. No ceremony needed, no hesitation, no pause for grief. As confirmed by records in the succession to the Crown Act and noted in publications like Harper's Bazaar and Wikipedia, the throne never sits empty. But that doesn't mean hearts weren't heavy. Inside palace walls, it was said the mood was a blend of disbelief and duty. Reports from close insiders painted a scene of soft weeping, hurried footsteps, and flickering candlelight. William, eyes glassy with tears, reportedly whispered to aides, "It's all happening too fast." He was still a son in mourning, yet now also a sovereign. Catherine stayed close, gently steadying the children, especially Prince George, who found himself suddenly first in line for a destiny none could fully prepare for. With the urgency of the moment, the Accession Council reportedly convened via secure video call, an unprecedented but necessary adaptation in the digital age. Quiet condolences from world leaders began trickling in, but it was the private family moments that truly marked the night. They spoke of Charles not as king, but as father, grandfather, and the man who once laughed too loud during a state dinner in Paris. The royal household moved like clockwork, but beneath the polished protocol lay the raw tremble of a family caught in the crosswinds of history. So could this be the end of an era, or the beginning of something the monarchy never expected to face so soon? Behind the crown and the quiet tears, The day began like any other, but by nightfall, history had shifted. The world awoke to whispers and tributes, news anchors in black, and Buckingham Palace's flag lowered half-mast. The BBC, with its signature poise, delivered the statement that left the nation stunned. The king was gone. It wasn't just the end of a reign, it was the end of an era. Suddenly, all eyes turned to William, now King William V, whose ascension came not with pomp, but with palpable sorrow. Yet even as the formalities of succession unfolded with practiced precision behind palace walls, the mood was anything but composed. Grief hung thick. In Windsor, silence spoke louder than ceremony. It was Camilla, now Queen Dowager, who reportedly took William's hand in private and whispered, "He believed in you." A simple sentence, but it carried the full weight of a father's faith and a son's burden. No one saw it coming like this. While the public had always speculated and the press occasionally hinted, nothing prepared the royals, or the country, for how quickly everything changed. In a single breath, Prince George grew taller in the nation's imagination. Beside him, Princess Charlotte asked questions that no child should need to ask, her words quietly piercing through the protocols. And Catherine, now Queen Consort, stood firm, her graceful composure offering the kind of reassurance the world didn't know it needed. The transition was smooth on paper, but emotionally, a storm. William had been quietly groomed for this role all his life, with biographers chronicling his every step, from Eton classrooms to military bases to royal engagements. But as insiders told Vanity Fair, preparation doesn't numb the pain. His eyes that morning said it all: grief, duty, disbelief. Across social media, the hashtag King William trended globally, echoing a strange mix of national heartbreak and cautious optimism. Some posted old photos of Diana, others of young William with his father. Royal fans clung to memories, while the monarchy edged into a new chapter. It wasn't a coronation but a reckoning. A family in mourning, a country in reflection, and a new king walking into the storm. Head held high, heart still healing. But what hidden emotions and untold tensions are stirring beneath the surface of King William's sudden rise? Stay glued to your screen. The emotional rise of King William. It didn't happen with a grand parade or glittering fanfare. It happened in the quiet shadow of loss. As Britain mourned the passing of King Charles III, attention shifted not just to the weight of a crown, but to the man now wearing it. Prince William, once a steady heir waiting in the wings, stepped into destiny overnight, grieving son and suddenly king. But behind palace walls, whispers tell of a storm of emotion few ever saw. They say William didn't just prepare in palace halls. Long before the crown came calling, he had been quietly trained in global diplomacy and military strategy, traveling, listening, learning. Rumors within royal circles hinted at intense international mentoring, all aimed at molding him into a future monarch. But no amount of training could prepare him for the heartbreak of losing his father, or for what would follow just hours later. Witnesses say tears flowed in private rooms at Windsor. Catherine, always poised and intuitive, stood close, offering the kind of quiet strength only she could give. A longtime friend revealed, "He's strong, yes, but this one broke him." Still, duty called louder than grief. And by dawn, the United Kingdom had a new king. The shift was more than ceremonial. It was deeply personal. William, shaped by years of parenting Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and little Prince Louis, brought to the throne a father's empathy. Gone was the sheltered prince of his youth. What stood before the world was a man seasoned by life, loss, and love. Observers noticed Catherine's influence everywhere, from her composed presence at Wimbledon to the school gates where she waved off their children. Her quiet leadership became a mirror for his reign, calm, strong, and human. Even as he addressed homelessness or championed mental health, there was something different now, something real. Was it grief that matured him, or was this always the king he was meant to be? Either way, Britain isn't just watching a new ruler rise. They're witnessing a man find his voice, and perhaps a new kind of monarchy in the making. But what silent battles and buried truths could lie behind King William's trending moment and steady stride? Stay glued to your screen. Catherine's quiet strength. In a time of change. When King Charles's sudden passing sent shockwaves through the nation, an unexpected transformation quietly unfolded. Catherine, once known simply as the Duchess, stepped forward with a grace that captivated everyone watching. Not just a figure of elegance and warmth, she quickly became the steady heart of a family and a monarchy in transition. In the midst of grief, her role shifted overnight, from devoted mother and supportive wife to the nation's new Queen, Catherine. While Prince William embraced the weighty, formal duties expected of a future king, Catherine's focus was deeply personal, shielding their children from the storm. Insiders reveal she was the family's rock, comforting William and their young ones with quiet strength, even in moments when she brushed Princess Charlotte's hair, small acts showing her tender, nurturing nature. This balance of tradition and empathy defined her rise. As people watched, Catherine quietly channeled the poise of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, blending royal dignity with modern warmth. Her journey was far from easy. Alongside mourning, she faced a private battle with cancer, a challenge that added layers of resilience to her public persona. It's this blend of vulnerability and strength that experts say will shape her queenship, promoting family values, championing charity causes, and connecting with people through genuine kindness. For Prince George, now second in line, the shift was daunting, but met with surprising maturity, guided by his parents' lessons from Charles's reign. Meanwhile, Princess Charlotte stepped up, comforting her younger brother Louis and helping hold the family together. Catherine's sudden rise was no mere formality. It was a heartfelt evolution. From princess to queen, she emerged as a symbol of calm strength, ready to lead with both tradition and a fresh, compassionate touch. The royal family's quiet strength amid sudden loss. The palace was shrouded in a heavy silence as the news rippled across the nation. King Charles had passed away unexpectedly. In the shadow of grief, a swift and solemn ceremony unfolded, where oaths were sworn not just as a formality, but as a profound act of duty and transition. The young royal children watched intently, their wide eyes reflecting the weight of a world suddenly transformed. Prince George, standing tall and composed beyond his years, took his place as the new second in line to the throne. Those close to the family say William and Catherine have been quietly preparing him for this moment, instilling lessons learned from Charles's own reign. Yet nothing could fully prepare any of them for the reality that hit like a tidal wave. Princess Charlotte, usually confident and steady, became a quiet pillar at home, her gentle strength visible even through tears. She whispered comfort to little Prince Louis, whose innocent playfulness briefly lifted the palace's somber mood, reminding everyone of the fragile balance between loss and hope. At the heart of it all stood Queen Camilla, newly crowned queen consort and a steady presence during this whirlwind. Her calm support at the overnight coronation brought a touch of continuity to a family and nation in upheaval, a reminder of the unbroken chain of history, much like Queen Adelaide's role after King William IV. Yet the family portrait felt incomplete without Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Their absence was felt keenly, stirring rumors of a possible reunion in the days ahead, an urgent call for healing in a fractured dynasty. Outside, the nation united in collective mourning. Flags flew at half-mast, and flowers piled high at Buckingham Palace, echoing the sorrow and resilience of a country saying goodbye to a monarch and welcoming a new era with hopeful, hearts. But what silent message did Camilla's calm presence and Harry and Meghan's absence truly send? Stay tuned to find out. William and Catherine's vision for a modern monarchy. The world watched as a profound chapter unfolded with the passing of King Charles, a moment that rippled far beyond royal walls. His legacy, deeply woven into environmental protection and healthcare charities, sparked a surge in public support, reflecting the respect and affection he inspired globally. Across the Commonwealth, leaders sent heartfelt condolences, underscoring the broad impact of his symbolic reign. Yet, amid the sorrow, the royal family found unexpected unity, drawing closer to honor Charles's passions with renewed determination. Now, the spotlight shifts to King William and Queen Catherine, whose fresh approach signals an exciting evolution for the monarchy. Embracing both tradition and change, their leadership promises a blend of heartfelt empathy and bold innovation. Catherine's rise as queen adds warmth and relatability. She navigates her role not as a mere title, but a calling, inspired by legends like Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana. Her authentic, accessible presence, whether through thoughtful public appearances or candid social media moments, creates a new connection with the people. Whispers from palace insiders reveal William's ambition to streamline the monarchy, simplifying ceremonies, cutting costs, and reshaping the royal family to better reflect today's world. Environmental sustainability remains a core focus, building on William's Earthshot Prize, while mental health initiatives like Heads Together gain momentum, grounded in personal experience and a desire to destigmatize struggles. Theirs is a family-first vision, with Catherine championing early childhood development and balance, ensuring their children grow up both grounded and prepared for their future. Challenges loom, from economic shifts to public scrutiny, but their resilient partnership promises steady leadership. This is just the beginning, as the royal family steps boldly into a future where tradition meets transformation, inviting the world to witness a monarchy reborn for a new era. But what do you think really happened behind closed doors after King Charles's sudden passing? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.